There is one single word that every diet and every body transformation relies on. You see it on every food label, you track it in every app, you hear it in every conversation about fat loss and muscle gain. It shapes the way people eat, the way they train, and the way they judge themselves. Yet almost nobody understands what it truly means. It is the most used word in nutrition, and at the same time, the most misunderstood. An entire global debate exists because people use this word without knowing where it came from or what it actually represents. That word is calories. People hear it every day. They track it, they fear it, and they build entire strategies around it. Yet almost no one ever stops to ask what a calorie really is, where the term came from, or why it became the foundation of body transformation. The conversation has shaped diet culture, training culture, and even the beliefs people hold about their own bodies. The ironic part is that the scientific definition behind the word has nothing to do with human biology. Across the industry, you see two distinct groups chasing the same goal. Both want a better body. Both want fat loss. Both want to build muscle. Both want to look and feel their best. But their philosophies are built on opposite assumptions. One group lives and dies by the number. No bad foods, only bad amounts. Hit the deficit and the body should follow. Everything is maths. Track the calories, weigh the food, stay under the number, and the rest falls into place. It is that simple. And because the weight drops, they take it as proof that their philosophy must be true. On the other side, you have people who reject the term entirely. They understand the scientific definition. They know that calories are not units of food energy. Calories are measurements of heat produced in a bomb calorimeter. They are photons. They do not reflect digestion, hormones, absorption, enzymes, or metabolism. They say it clearly and proudly. Humans are not bomb calorimeters. So they focus on chemistry. They choose whole foods, they prioritize DNA and hormonal signaling, and they dismiss numbers completely. Their health is excellent, yet their body composition does not always match their effort. Both groups are missing something. The calorie counters ignore chemistry. They get lean and muscular, but they do not always look very healthy. At least some of them. Their skin shows it. Their lack of vibrancy speaks volumes. Food choices have consequences that never appear on a calorie tracking app. Two key notes to make. Number one, you cannot scan inflammation. It hides beneath the surface and shapes the way your body looks, feels, and performs long before the scale ever moves. And number two, advanced glycation end products have no so-called caloric value, yet their damage is real. They stiffen tissues, age the skin, and disrupt metabolic signaling without ever appearing on a nutritional label. The chemistry crowd ignore quantity. They eat high-quality food, but they eat it freely and proudly. They feel healthy, yet a majority of them never achieve the physique they desire because quantity is not controlled. And here is where another major issue appears. Those who focus purely on the hormonal aspect forget a basic truth of transformation. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Someone can follow carnivore or ketogenic eating for months or years and feel incredible, yet the body does not change the way they hoped it would. They hit a plateau and they freeze. They have nothing to anchor to. Do they add? Do they take away? Do they adjust timing? Do they increase movement? Without a measurable plan, they cannot know. And without knowing, progress becomes guesswork. Guesswork stores results every time. All of this comes from the same misunderstanding. The word they're fighting over does not describe what the human body responds to. So, let us break it down. By definition, a calorie is the amount of heat required to raise 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Did you know that? That is the definition of a calorie. It is measured by burning food in a sealed device known as a bomb calorimeter. This apparatus captures the heat and converts that heat into a number. Here is where the scientists get lost. They spend too much time arguing that calories do not exist. They say nobody eats a calorie. Nobody eats heat. Therefore, the entire concept is meaningless and flawed. They become so caught up in the semantics that they convince themselves calories do not matter when it comes to changing body composition. But this is where they miss the point completely. Yes, the term is flawed. Yes, humans do not eat heat. Yes, The definition does not reflect biology. But body composition still changes when you change the mass behind the word. So while they debate terminology, the real world continues to prove the outcome every time. And the clearest example of this is, of course, with bodybuilders. If calories are nothing more than measurements of heat energy, and humans cannot eat heat, then something becomes very interesting, because bodybuilders have spent decades living by this system. They have tracked calories, manipulated calories, increased them, decreased them, and used them to carve their physiques with precision. If the word truly represented heat, then bodybuilders have spent 50 years doing the impossible. They have been shopping for heat, cooking heat, eating heat, digesting and manipulating heat to achieve the highest level of muscle gain and the lowest levels of body fat in any sport. Yet they succeed. They succeed better than any other athlete on the planet. They are the masters of maximizing muscle and minimizing body fat at the same time. And they achieve it by manipulating this so-called heat, which tells you everything. The calorie was never working because it represented heat. It was working because it represented mass. And bodybuilders unknowingly proved this for decades. Humans are open systems, not sealed metal chambers. We do not ignite food. We digest it, break it down chemically, and extract nutrients through pathways that a bomb calorimeter cannot mimic. Yet, calories work. That is where the confusion comes in. They work not because they measure biological energy, but because they measure food mass. Drop the mass low enough, and the body must use stored energy. Mass in, mass out. It is predictable. This is why someone can lose weight eating nothing but Twinkies, shakes, and processed snacks. They drop the mass low enough to create a deficit, and body composition responds in spite health declining. The mass reduction overrides the biochemical damage. Look at the opposite. Someone eats perfect quality, grass-fed, organic, unprocessed foods, zero refined sugar. Their health is excellent. But they eat ad libitum. They eat whenever hunger arrives. Quantity drifts, and the physique never changes. Both examples prove the same truth. Food chemistry determines health. Food quantity determines body composition. Both matter. And this is exactly where my own experience as a coach fits in. Even back in the very beginning, before apps existed and before anyone could scan a barcode, the principle was already clear. Everything was handwritten. Everything lived in booklets. And the method was simple. I would sit with a client and ask them to choose their favorite 15 foods. Top 15 foods they could eat every day for the rest of their life. Because purely from a fat loss perspective, the best diet is the one you can sustain the longest. The person who gets the leanest is the person who is able to adhere to the deficit the longest. Compliance is the science. Once we had their top 15 foods, everything came down to volume. Meal 1, 150 grams of cooked chicken breast, 100 grams of avocado, 3 boiled eggs. Nothing complicated. If they were not losing body fat every 2 weeks, we changed the volume. 120 grams instead of 150, 80 instead of 100. Tiny adjustments, predictable outcome. Not calories in, calories out, mass in, mass out. We had no idea how many so-called calories they were consuming, only the total volume. And if food volume did not need to change, activity did. 10,000 steps became 12,000 steps. Less intake, more expenditure. More movement, less mass. Simple and reliable. Now combine this with what we have covered already and the full picture becomes obvious. The quantity of the food dictates body composition. The quality of the food dictates chemistry. And quality influences quantity. If you get the quality right, the quantity takes care of itself. It works both ways. On the good side, when the quality is right, hunger quietens, cravings fade. Portions become predictable. The body makes better decisions without force. On the bad side, the opposite can happen. Food can be so clean and so nutrient dense that people undereat without noticing. They feel full quickly, they feel satisfied early, and suddenly they are eating far too little to create consistent fat loss. I see this constantly. Perfect quality, unstable quantity. Undereat one day, overeat the next. The chemistry is right, but the mass is not. This is why the whole picture matters. Mass and chemistry, quantity and quality, both influencing each other every day. Now let us return to the clearest demonstration of this truth, the eggs and ice cream experiment. 10 boiled eggs versus a large bowl of ice cream. Both contain roughly 750 so-called calories. On paper, they are equal. In the body, however, they are completely different. Sit someone down with 10 eggs and they usually stop at 5 or 6. The chemistry closes the door. Give them ice cream with the same number, however, and they polish it off effortlessly. Most could eat more, and they will be hungry again within the hour. Food is more than just so-called calories. It is vital information to your DNA. It affects your hormonal signaling. It affects hunger, craving, satiety, and behavior. 2 meals with the same numerical value do not produce the same internal result. This is why species-appropriate nutrition works so well. When you feed the body what it is designed to run on, everything becomes calmer. Hunger stabilizes. Cravings disappear. Behavior becomes predictable. When you feed the body the wrong inputs, hunger becomes erratic. Cravings dominate behavior. Overeating creates more body fat, and more body fat creates more overeating. It becomes a loop that traps people for years. Now, here is the bridge between both worlds. Calories matter only because they reflect mass. The body does not respond to the number. It responds to the mass and the chemistry. Mass predicts body composition and chemistry predicts health. And when you understand both together, everything changes. You stop arguing about diets. You stop bouncing between plans. You stop blaming your body. You finally see what is happening. Reduce the mass responsibly, improve the chemistry consistently, and the result becomes predictable, sustainable, repeatable for life. This is the truth behind the word that confused the world. Once you understand it, you never look at food the same way ever again.